Go. It's your old pal Emac coming to you on a Saturday morning with no NFL coming behind us. That's going to be a rarity. Well, soon to be a commonality. But here we are doing a little NBA action. We have a 6-game slate. I am joined by your friend and mine, Gundacker.
Happy Saturday. Little night morning back to back for the baseballers. I hate getting up this early, but it's nice. It's nice and chill, literally. 30 degrees. I know some of the viewers are probably laughing and scoffing at, well, I wish it was 30 degrees. That's swimming pool weather. Well, down here, not so much.
Yeah, it's a little cold here. It is 20. Oh, now it's 19. Feels like 12. My wife just got done doing a 10K and got home, and she's like still looking like she's cold even after driving back an hour. So she's doing a half marathon tomorrow. Good for her. I'm going to stay inside. So I've got that going for me. I will be cooking for her this weekend. So there we are with that. But we've got a 6-gamer here. We are sponsored by Yahoo. So you guys are going to want to, if you have not yet joined Yahoo, go down to the link below us in the description here. If you click through that link and you make a deposit, that will give you credit for coming in on the Awesemo promo code. As soon as you play in your first paid contest, paid with your actual money, Yahoo's going to send us an email. We will in turn send you an email with the promo code that will get you 30 free days of Awesemo premium content. When you sign up for Yahoo, they're also going to give you $10 of site credits. You can choose which you use out of your account, but if you use that site credit first, that's not going to kick off the email to us. It just has to be a paid contest. It can be for as low as 25 cents. It just has to be a paid contest. But check that out. We've got all the fun tools behind the scenes, and that 30 days of free Awesemo, that's for everything, not just Yahoo. No Fantasy Cruncher, but you literally get everything else that we have, which is phenomenal. Fantasy Cruncher is a separate add-on for that. It's just pass-through cost, but that's something we support as well. Finally, the other key things that we want to know, free content today, we have the NBA popularity rankings, and we have the NHL player rankings. So that will be important. And then we've got 4 shows coming on after us throughout the day. Of course, NBA Deeper Dive and Live Before Lock. There will be an NFL strategy show. And then there's the NHL strategy show coming on after us. And then finally, in the can already on the YouTube channel and on the Awesemo Podcast Network. On the contrary, you have Steve DeColt Buzzard, who is one of our key people behind the scenes. You see him at the top of leaderboards everywhere, but he oversees all things financial here at Awesemo, as well as most of our projections, along with Alex and Sean's on. So he is one of the principal partners here at Awesemo. So you can find out what his thoughts are on the 2-game slate. A lot of strategies for that. And then Super Chat Gundacker, look at the $100 Super Chat. That's the most we've ever got. It's not from my mom. It's not from your girlfriend. It is from Sheets 444. He says, I won the fadeaway last night. Figured I would fire off a super chat to show appreciation for the multiple layers of content over the last few years. Let's freaking go. Freezing go. Let's freezing go. LFG, is that what it is? Yep. GFY. All I can say is GFY, Gundacker, good for you. Good for you.
I don't think that's what that means. Oh my gosh. Yeah, congrats, Sheets. Taking it down, man. That's love.
All right, let's get into the games here. As I mentioned, we do have 6 of them. Boston at New Orleans, -4.5 for Boston. We're looking at a 213.5 implied point total here. New Orleans does have Brandon Ingram questionable. He has missed the last 3 games with an ankle injury. Jonas Valanciunas has missed the last 2 games due to a non-COVID related illness, or potentially from his booster shot. We don't know exactly what that is, but he is eligible to come back if, in fact, he is ready to. But he's missed 2 games. And then last night, Devontae Graham suffered a knee injury in game. Both these teams are on a back-to-back. They both play on Monday. Last night, Boston lost 108-92 in Atlanta. We saw Time Lord and Marcus Smart get 32 minutes apiece. Jaylen Brown had 35. Jason Tatum had 36. The Pels lost to Denver. Let's see, we saw Willie Hernan-Gomez get the start for Jonas Valanciunas, had a monster fantasy game. He played 33 minutes. Graham played 34 before getting injured. Herbert Jones had 37, and Hart was back with 37. He had missed a game or 2 in there. Take it away for us here. We've got, let's go with the Boston side first.
Yeah, so Boston is pretty much fully healthy. So on a back-to-back with a little bit of travel, you wonder if they, give Al Horford that customary night off on the second night. If that happens, might get some perceived value in Grant Williams, but probably more interestingly, some heightened minute floors and expectations for Robert Williams. It's over 7K on both sides, so you need a lot. Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, they both have a chip in a chair to break a slate, 50 fantasy points anytime they touch the court. Typically, I drive a wedge between them. I mean, I don't want overlap because their ceilings usually don't coincide, but Jaylen Brown is pretty doggone cheap on FanDuel at 8,100. So I don't think it's impossible on a shorter slate for Tatum and Brown against a team like the Pelicans to both kind of get there at their prices on FanDuel, but I would still probably favor one or the other, just selling out for ceiling. On the Pelican side, we're definitely going to need that Ingram Jonas Valanciunas news. If Jonas Valanciunas can't go, again, Willie Hernan-Gomez profiles as an elite play, dropping 40, 50 fantasy points on Joel Embiid, Nikola Jokic. He's just that talented for fantasy. So I'd be right back at the Hernan-Gomez well, leading to the Pelican side. But Pelicans news is going to be pretty important here. And if I think if Ingram and J Val end up not playing, we might see a little bit more movement on this 5-point spread.
Yeah, that I think is going to be the case. I kind of have a feeling that Valanciunas will be back, but I don't think Ingram will. That's just my guess here. Pure speculation, fool's errand at this point in the day, because as we saw, even when we think we know, we don't know. As I see you're responding in chat to the Dwight Howard questions, I thought it was going to be Carmelo Anthony that was the secret person that was going to be active but not come off the bench for the Lakers last night. It was, in fact, Dwight Howard, though. Trivia question: who came into the league first, Dwight Howard or his teammate Trevor Ariza?
Wow, I'm gonna say Dwight, but I don't actually know.
All right, so Dwight came in 2005, or probably 2004. Ariza came in 2004. Dwight came in 2005. Sorry, I got that backwards.
That's I graduated high school in 2005. Like that's crazy how long he's been sticking around.
Did you know they were teammates back in Orlando? Back in 2005 and 6.
That's incredible.
Yeah, it's just throwing that out there. These guys have been around for a while. Anything else you want to mention for this game? All the wild cards, of course, are going to be what's happening with Ingram, what's happening with Graham, what's happening with Joval. But Hart does seem like a pretty solid play. He usually comes in at a favorable price point on Yahoo. The other nice thing about him on Yahoo is he does pick up some blocks and steals as well as rebounds. Blocks and steals on our sponsor site Yahoo are worth 3 points each, so that is a helpful tick up in compared to DraftKings. Anything else from this game?
Yeah, I would say, again, maybe contingent on news, but Nickeil Alexander-Walker played 3 games in a row, exceeding 34 minutes, with JVal, without Ingram as well, though. 4,400. If he still has another shot at 30-plus minutes here, he definitely has a potential to give you 30 fantasy points. So 4,400 might be a little bit of a write it down in pencil this early, but I think we could circle back and not be surprised later on tonight if NAW profiles as a pretty strong DraftKings value. Right now I got him for 30 implied minutes, but I'm waiting on obviously the Ingram news. And if we think Ingram is out, even if JVL's in, I think NAW seems like he has this path to minutes to be viable on DK.
All right, let's move on to our next game here. I see Nate Ross speculating that I graduated in 85. What did I graduate in 85 is the question. No guesses?
I wasn't
not high school.
No.
It's not college. It was 8th grade. God. It was 8th grade.
God dang, you man.
That was a while ago, a long time ago. Let's move on to Indiana at Dallas. We have Malcolm Brogdon and Miles Turner both out. Questionable. We have Chris Duarte, who suffered an in-game injury. I believe that occurred in overtime last night. Goga Bitadze came off the bench. He only played 2 minutes. He also suffered a foot injury. Those guys are questionable. I'm guessing they don't play, but we shall see. This is a back-to-back and 3 and 4 for Indiana. They played OKC last night, again, in overtime, 113-110. Sabonis played 44 minutes, LeVert 43. Holiday played 36, Duarte 31. Dallas plays on Sunday for their next game, kind of an island game here for them. What would you like to do with Mr. Domantas Sabonis here tonight?
Yeah, wasn't it hashtag DFS for him to lead the slate in fantasy points yesterday? No one was really keeping tabs on him. Sub 10K here. Clearly has 50 plus fantasy point potential, but we're giving the Mavs their respect. Defensively, the Thunder have been polar opposites when it comes to defensive efficiency than the Mavs have. The Mavs have really turned it up this season. Kleber, Porzingis in that front court. So I'm going to taper those expectations on Sabonis on a back-to-back, coming back from a couple days off. So I think he's appropriately priced for what his median or even high-end median expectation is. We put him in the back end of the player pool, but no warm and fuzzies. Karis LeVert, kind of a letdown in his last couple of games as well. Last night went 43 minutes and was not efficient, 3 for 19, but those shots were there. So if you believe in progression, positive regression, however you want to phrase it, the shot volume should still be there without Malcolm Brogdon. And of course, with TJ McConnell down, plenty of minutes at that guard spot for LeVert to keep it going. But I think his price, again, appropriate. I don't feel like I'm getting a great deal considering the matchup. The Mav side, Luka has a real chance of being the highest fantasy scorer on the slate. We got Harden, we got Joel Embiid in the mix as well. John Morant's emerging in a new territory of his own here. But we saw SGA was tracking a good game, and then Lou Dort stepped in when SGA went down and had nearly 30 real points. So another thing about the Mavs, they did lose Tim Hardaway Jr., so a couple extra buckets to go around. Luka looks like a fantastic standout play, somebody I'll be trying to anchor a lot of my guard exposure to. And then Kristaps Porzingis, I like his DraftKings price a little bit more than FanDuel, but I don't mind getting behind either or. I just don't have a ridiculous minute count on or minute projection for him. So I feel like at that price point, I'm going to have some better minute projections to go around. I think Luka is probably the bulk of my interest in this game with a couple shares of Sabonis and Mass Century.
Do you ever play intentionally play or not play Porzingis and Luka together?
No, not really. No.
Because I mean, their stats don't really cannibalize each other by any stretch, but it's usually the allocation of all that salary cap that I find oftentimes makes it a little bit tricky. Where you were saying with Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, it's hard for them to both have apex games in the same game. Not as difficult for Luka and Porzingis, since they're the top two scoring options, and Luka has the ball in his hands on every single play. It's one of those where I've noticed that unless I say, hey, I want both of them on the same lineup, it usually doesn't come to fruition for me. Just something I've noticed. So I wanted to put that out there. All right. I see that Nick Lepre is in chat with here. He says he graduated in 2017. People still think he's 12. Well, because you look 12. It's just enjoy it. One day you won't. And then then it's not going to be fun. I see someone saying that both Jonas Valanciunas and Brandon Ingram are ruled out. They're actually not. They don't have they have a questionable injury designation. Depending on what site you're looking at, the databases haven't flipped over. Those are indicators from last night for both those guys. So again, we just wait and see when we get because they're on the back-to-back, they don't necessarily have to put anything on the early injury report either. So we may not know anything till a little later this afternoon.
It looks like we just got our first run ownership projection pushed through, and oddly enough, Kristaps Porzingis is currently projected to be the highest owned on DraftKings, 7,400. Which I could get behind it because the Pacers are so porous in the front court. Jalen Brunson coming in at number 2, looking like the benefactor of that aforementioned Tim Hardaway absence. He's been playing a really decent chunk of minutes in his own right. So I don't hate that. And I think on FanDuel, his 5,600 price point is really nice. So like I said, if Lou Dort can drop nearly 30 real points against you, I think Jalen Brunson is a bucket. So something to keep in mind this early out, that we might get some higher than I thought ownership on the Mavericks.
Yeah, it's definitely looking that way. Dorian Finney-Smith is the number 3 most popular player right now on FanDuel at 4,300. Of course, now that FanDuel has multi-position eligibility, he qualifies at 4 of the spots with small forward and shooting guard. But Brunson, as you mentioned, number 1 over there, should be on half the lineups. We'll see. More value will appear. That's the way it always kind of works here on DFS, NBA DFS these days. Let's move on here to our next game, Sacramento at Philadelphia. Sacramento double-digit underdogs here heading to Philadelphia. Let's see. De'Aaron Fox is questionable. He has missed the last 3 games with an ankle injury. Chimezie Metu, also questionable. He has missed the last 2 games with a knee injury. Philadelphia will be without Shake Milton. He is dealing with a sore lower back, slated to miss 2 or 3 more games. Let's see. Seth Curry, questionable. He has missed the last 4 games with ankle injuries. This is an island game for both of these teams. They play again on Monday. Sacramento last played on Wednesday. Philadelphia, of course, last played on Thursday. Apparently, this won't be a showcase game for De'Aaron Fox. Sacramento says, "Yeah, we're out of the Ben Simmons talks." Were there ever Ben Simmons talks with any team, or is Daryl Morey just making this all up? Let's talk about that first.
You remember like 5 years ago when any good player ever was probably going to get traded to the Celtics?
Yes,
I feel like that's the Ben Simmons talk right now. The Harden trade, the Sacramento trade, like. Is Ben Simmons really that hot of a commodity right now that the phones won't stop ringing and Morley has to start hanging up on people?
I don't know. It just seems like this is just a mess. But we have DFS tonight. Let's assume that Fox and Metu are still both out. How do you want to approach this? You can take us through either side. But I know you want to start with Marvin Bagley.
Ag alert. Marvin Bagley. Yeah, I mean, if Metu's still down, I don't mind getting to a little shares of Marvin Bagley. I have to sell out for a little bit of size. The thing with Bagley and really the entire Kings front court is you don't get a big expectation of minutes. It's just fun to do the bag alert jingle.
The game logs look pretty bad. It's like, ooh,
the minutes.
How the minutes are there, but his scoring single digits the last few games.
The minutes aren't there. 22.
Oh, I haven't. I only looked for. He was on waivers. I was looking to pick him up in one of my 2 season-long teams today. So.
Yeah, no, I mean when he gets an opportunity at 30+ minutes, he's putting a decent day at the office. But last several outings, I mean maybe it's scoreboard inducive, but I mean there's still games that were competitive and he's just not getting run. So the Kings just have a carousel in their front court. Alex Len, Tristan Thompson, Rashawn Holmes is building back up, and if Metu's in the mix, it just becomes really an untouchable spot for me. The bulk of my interest and access to this game would be if Fox was out. Tyrese Halliburton, guy they expect to give us potentially over a fantasy point per minute, has a pretty high assist rate. Without Fox, his assist percentage goes to 39%. So would probably be somebody I consider here. He's priced appropriately for what I expect from him. Harrison Barnes, probably another guy that we probably feel the best about minute-wise. And if Fox can't go, we might see Davion Mitchell and Buddy Hield also benefit for some extra minutes. But like I said, the Kings are pretty hard pre-flop to get right. But I think we know minute-wise, Halliburton, Barnes would stand to benefit from a 30+ minute projection. And without Fox, Halliburton would probably be my favorite Kings play. Leading over to the Sixers side, Joel Embiid finally on a slate without Nikola Jokic. and that means I can play him, and this will probably mean so will everyone else, and this will be his floor game. But he's just been a different beast this year. A lot of 30 real points and go from there. And Sacramento has been one of my favorite targets when it comes to high usage bigs. Sacramento on the season allowing the most points per game allowed in the paint. Not that Joel Embiid needs a soft matchup to accomplish scoring, but it doesn't get much better than the Sacramento Kings for opposing centers. And then Embiid just has so much potential upside in his other peripherals that I think he will project in most models as the highest fantasy scorer tonight. My early projections have him sitting on top of both my DraftKings and FanDuel scoring projections. So I'll probably feature that as such. If we ended up getting J-Val out, Hernan Gomez being power forward eligible on FanDuel helps the Embiid cause. You can still use that util center spot on DK to load up on both of them, but that would probably be my favorite duo to get started on this slate is Embiid and Hernan Gomez if J-Val was out. But Embiid's in a massive spot here. You mentioned Shake Milton still out. Seth Curry's been kind of banged up if he can't go. Maxi's still kind of too cheap on both sides, 6K and 6,600 on DraftKings. FanDuel's at 6K. Minutes should be well above 30. His His output is also a little bit volatile, but there's not a position against the Kings that I really wouldn't get some access to. 30 plus fantasy points is really all I need to start with on a slate this size. And the same for Tobias Harris. He should also benefit from a weakened matchup. But the true priority for me in this game is Joel Embiid. And if you really, really, really wanted to get different in 100K to first and you needed to do it, Drummond is getting really cheap on DraftKings. But I don't think I'm getting there.
All right. This is kind of, well, I guess it's a wild card game, right? One of those other ones that there's going to be a lot of moving parts depending on it. The 220 over under is the third highest on the slate. It is one of just 3 games at that mark or better. So there will be some fantasy goodness here. It's just going to be a matter of who ends up playing, and that will help us decide for this one. That gives us our first 3 games here. Our next one is Toronto at Miami. Toronto is 5.5 point underdogs, 207.5 projected point total here. We have for Toronto, Kem Birch is out with the nose injury. Fred VanVleet, some would like to call him Fred Van Elite. I will call him Fred Van Elite. In danger of missing his 3rd straight game with the knee injury. It's general soreness of his knee. I guess that's what happens when you lead the league in minutes for like 3 years in a row. Just don't get me started on that. On the other side, Kyle Lowry has been away from the game for away from the team for their last 6 games. Personal matter. He is still questionable as well. So that makes it interesting. But I wanted to throw out what makes it real interesting. Not only do we have the Awesemo Hall of Fame here, but we also tonight have a very special iteration of the Fred Van Elite fan club. So we're going to tell you how you can win 30 free days of Awesemo premium content. Of course, we have the Awesemo Hall of Fame here. What you got to do is go to awesemo.com/avatar, download the Awesemo profile pic, upload that into your DFS site of choice, and you can tweet your wins to Awesemo Hall of Fame on Twitter at AwesemoHOF. And if you finish top 3 in any contest of at least 5,000 people, entry fee doesn't matter, but you have to finish first, second, or third, no ties. Unless 3 of you tie for first, you will get 30 free days of Awesemo premium content. Here's the other bonus. Tonight, and tonight only, I have increased the Fred Van Elite fan club to 100 entries. It's just $1. It's over there on DraftKings. You can find it on my pinned tweet. You can also join the Awesemo DK League and get in there when it is posted. It must fill to run, but tonight and tonight only, I'm giving the top 5 Awesemo avatar finishers. Normally, you got to get first with an Awesemo avatar. 5 of you are going to get a 30 free days of Awesemo Premium if you have the Awesemo avatar, the best 5 finishers. If I am one of them, then it will only be 4 that go out. So gauntlet has been cast. Die has been cast. Gauntlet has been dropped. Whatevs. But check that out. Of course, will be a lot of fun here for that. So that'll do it there for us. I'm going to drop that link into YouTube chat here in just a moment as I turn this back over to Gundacker. I will say this, and this is courtesy of Adam Ship My Money Sharer. Did you know, he pointed out, that Pascal Siakam has almost a 30% assist rate when Fred Van Elite is off the court? Talk to us about the Raptors.
Yeah, I think you kind of touched on it. The not only is VanVleet been a perennial minutes leader, but the Toronto Raptors rotation is very, very small, and a lot of those guys are implied really for 35 plus minutes. Sounds like foul trouble, and if VanVleet can't go, it's just next man up, and you play deep minutes here. So would like to have that VanVleet news at a decent time. It's not an impeccable matchup here. Miami Heat, if Butler and Adebayo are on the court, still profiles a pretty tough defense, but sometimes minutes just trumps everything, and the opportunity that you get on VanVleet when he plays near 40 minutes Siakam near 40 minutes, Barnes, Anunoby. There's just so many minutes to expect from them that they can overcome some of these price points. Would like the boost of a Van Vliet being out to feel great about Siakam at over 9K against Adebayo. But yeah, they're all in play. I probably put them all as like tier 3 and wait on some news and then afterwards adjust accordingly. What we have seen in the absence of Van Vliet, at least the last couple of games, is Gary Trent Jr. He assumes a lot more scoring, 30 plus real points in back-to-back games. Matchups a little bit better than today's matchup, Chicago and Charlotte respectively. However, 35, 37 minutes there and 20 plus shot attempts. Siakam doing the ball handling, so you're not getting point guard Gary Trent expectations, but 20 plus shot attempts and 6K on FanDuel, 5,400 on DraftKings, definitely worth considering. Miami Heat side is a back-to-back for the Heat. Kind of like I mentioned with Horford, I always in the back of my mind wonder if Jimmy Butler plays a back-to-back, because yesterday he was kind of cute throughout the day and then warmed up with the intention to play. So you wonder if they be cautious with him going, into night 2. But as of right now, we have to expect him to be a full go. And if he's a full go, 8,600 on DK, he has a propensity to drop a triple-double anytime he is completely off the chain. Yesterday, he gave us 54 fantasy points against the Clippers with 26 real points and 4 stocks. So he would absolutely be in play. Adebayo, 8K on FanDuel, 7,300 on DraftKings, another guy I expect for 40 plus at that price point. That's what I need. Not a great total, not a great expected pace here, but a couple spots with a high predictive value in minutes on both sides. And then without Kyle Lowry in the mix, you might expect the Tyler Hero at 6,400 to benefit from 30 plus minutes, but he hasn't really smacked the slate the way we expect without Larry in the recent history.
Yeah, and that's a good point there. So Lowry could really splash splash the puddle, shall we say, if he returns, because we've seen everybody's prices tick back up. This is a back-to-back for Miami. It's a 3-4. Last night they beat the Clips 121-114. They've run an incredibly tight rotation. Basically, they've got a couple, Max Strus gets a few honorary minutes here and there, and Robinson starts, but it's Hero off the bench for 30 plus, and then Jimmy Butler was back and Adebayo, and those guys are going to get 30 plus, but it really ends up being pretty tight without Lowry. Lowry comes back in, all of a sudden that's probably going to relegate Strus to maybe one turn in the rotation, and it's going to take a couple minutes off everybody else unless it's a close game, and that's because he's been gone so long. He's not reflect his minutes being taken or being used by him are not reflected in the salaries of everybody. So they can be a little tricky on that one. Again, we'll have to wait and see what's going on with news. We do have the NBA Deeper Dive show tonight, as well as Live Before Lock. So that should be a lot of fun. I did drop that Fred Van Elite fan club link into the YouTube chat, as well as the Awesemo Discord. I'll tweet it out. By the time you guys are hearing this on the podcast network, you can go see it. It'll be my pinned tweet. At that point, it looks like there's about 75 people in the contest, so just 25 spots left. Again, I'm giving away 5 30-day subscriptions, 5 free 30-day subscriptions to the top 5 Awesemo Avatar winners. This is a one-time deal only, celebrating no NFL today. So we're going to make things real interesting as we weave our way towards tomorrow's exciting conference championship games. Washington, the Wizards at Memphis. Let's see. I have almost renounced my fandom of the Wizards. That was a gut punch when they gave up a 35-point lead from, I think it was in the second quarter, and lost to the Clippers, who do not have Paul George, who do not have Kawhi Leonard. Wizards were at home. You had Luke Kennard score 9 points in the last, or 7 points in the last 9 seconds, or 9 points, whatever it was horrible. Bradley Beal looks like he's pouting. The team is not getting along. I thought once they got John Wall out of there, that would change. Apparently it's not. Trade rumors abound. Beal turned down his contract extension. This team is no longer fun to watch. I cannot rationally break this team down. Well, I can then this way. They're all healthy. That makes it very tough to play. And by all healthy, I mean Rui Hachimura is finally back. Davis Bertans finally helping. We've seen Denny Abdia fall out of the rotation. Halzino Neto pops in and out now and then. They have everybody back. So it makes it very tough to play any of them. It's a three-headed monster at center between Daniel Gafford and Thomas Bryant being back. And of course, Montrezl Harrell in the mix. He may close because he's the better offensive guy, but who knows anymore? I just don't know what to do with these guys, but I do know what I want to do. I want to play Ja Morant in this game. So Memphis, this is a back-to-back for them. They play next on Monday. Last night, they beat Utah 119-109. Morant played 36 minutes. Bane played the 30, and Jaren Jackson Jr. also played 30. Dylan Brooks is still out with his ankle injury. You've got Kyle Anderson and Tyus Jones have cleared the health and safety protocol, but they've missed 5 games, so conditioning is a question mark. Putting all of that aside, I still want to play Ja Morant. Can you say anything nice about the Washington Wizards, or shall we just say nothing at all?
They have good jerseys.
When they wear the district jerseys, okay, that's kind of cool. That's it.
Yeah, no, I think just from an analytical standpoint, like you mentioned, the game that we play, salary and fantasy points, man, they just are. They got a traffic jam of we can't confidently project high level of minutes anywhere. Mentioned that front court, they're stepping on each other right now. Montrez, Thomas Bryant, Hachimura, Gafford, Kuzma. So I have for a 228 total, like all my interest is going to be on the Memphis side, and even Bradley Beal, somebody that I don't play him unless Dinwiddie's down or something like that. So I'm probably all out on the Wizards tonight, and I don't think I lose sleep. Not going into battle with Wizards into my lineup. So I think everything is for me in this game going to be on the Grizzlies side.
Yeah, and and I should be excited by the Wizards. They actually have a competent team. They actually have a good rotation. It's just the gut punch of that last loss might have been the last straw for me. It really got to me.
It's going to turn the season around, EMAC. They're going to build off of that.
Was there a players only meeting? That's what we need.
One every other day. No, but you'll talk about a team with synergy, man. I'm loving the Memphis Grizzlies. I'm loving Ja Morant leading on the court, on social media. They are pushing each other for MVPs. There's a push for Bane to be MIP. There's a push for Jaren Jackson Jr. to be Defensive Player of the Year. They believe it and they play it, and they're the most fun team to watch. And it starts with Ja Morant. So a 10.6K on FanDuel, 10.3K on DraftKings. It seems like every night we're expecting 50 fantasy points out of them. And they've had a carousel just in and out of guys playing, COVID injuries, and they just keep getting it done. So I'm as long as Ja Morant has a shot for 35 plus minutes, man, he has a shot for 20 plus shot attempts, and he does a little bit of everything. So I'm with you. Ja Morant is definitely somebody I want to get to. There is some Luka, some Embiid, some Harden on the slate. So I don't know if he'll fall into their shadows from this far out. We got Ja Morant at 19%. So, 1 in 5 lineups going to feature Morant. I'm fine with getting a little bit above that because he's that good. Jaren Jackson Jr., I think on DraftKings sub 7K. It's probably a little too cheap still. He's playing at a ridiculous level with these blocks. I don't know if you've been keeping an eye on that, but that's why they're kind of pushing that DPOY narrative for him. My man is he's Mutombo-esque in his blocks lately, 6 and 6 his last 2 games. So if he keeps that going up, he will be up against some decent usage bigs, Kuzma, Gafford, Montrezl Harrell. So the opportunity to keep those blocks going is there, and those blocks are so much more valuable on Yahoo and FanDuel. So maybe keep that in mind. Sometimes those blocks turn into fouls, but that's the risk that I'm willing to take on a shorter slate like this if it means he's going to flirt with 40-50 fantasy points every night, because his price has plenty of room, plenty of meat on the bone. So you can sign me up for some Triple J here. And then I don't mind a little bit of Desmond Bane. 6K. I feel like maybe that's the pivot point that you think about. You start looking at Jalen Brunson's ownership. You wonder how often does Desmond Bane outscore him? Maybe you get into some Bane here. Double-digit shot attempts for him without Dylan Brooks. I think Morant, Bane, and Triple J are the bulk of my interest here. We did have a surprising ownership projection on Steven Adams, in my opinion, at 23%. He's under 5K. But maybe that'll change once we start getting some news. Especially, I know it'll change if we get the Jonas Valanciunas news.
Yeah, absolutely. And the back-to-back, he's going to play tonight. That part doesn't concern me, but he really hasn't been cracking over 25 minutes per game. I don't have his game log pulled up, but if you have that handy, it's kind of in that 18 to 25 minute range. It's not as what we had seen in the past. He's also not as old as people would tend to think he is. What do you think his age is? I'm going to call that up.
Steven Adams?
Yeah.
I'm going to say
28 is my guess. Oh, he's 28.
Nice.
And 193 days. 28 and 193 days. That's pretty good, right?
Yeah. Is that an Steven Adams age app in 193 days? I love that.
Well, it's on Basketball Reference. Sort of like if everybody should click right now on let me just put the link in chat. Maximilian Kleber. How old do you think he is?
I'm gonna go 26.
Higher.
27.
Higher.
28, 29.
Higher.
$1, Bob. I don't know. I'm scared.
He is 30. It's his birthday today. Maximilian Kleber turns 30 today. There we are. All right. We got to drag the show out a little bit here.
Yeah. I guess we are making good time.
Well, yeah, we did. We raced through it because it worked out well for us. But I do want to remind everybody, Yahoo, big contest there tomorrow, big contest there tonight. So obviously we've partnered with them. They're sponsoring our show. You can check out our exclusive limited time offer, which gets you 1 free month of Awesemo Plus Platinum. To qualify, all you got to do is be a new user to Yahoo. You sign up for your account via the link below us in the description of the YouTube video. Deposit and play. That's it. Yahoo's going to send us your name after you play in your first paid contest. We'll reach out to you via email with the coupon code that'll get you 30 free days of Awesemo premium content. If you want to speed up the process, if you're not already an Awesemo subscriber, if you're a new user, shoot an email to support@awesemo.com and we'll expedite that for you. If you're a regular, already a subscriber of Awesemo, we'll get it to you. It just takes about 2 or 3 days for all these actions to take place. We'll get it to you. It makes it easier if we don't get support tickets. If you already have your subscription, if your subscription runs out tomorrow and you sign up today, then let us know. We don't want you to lose coverage. But trust us, we got the mechanics working on this. It works out pretty well. But tonight they have a $30,000 NBA baller. Tomorrow, $500,000 baller, $100,000 to first, $20 entry fee over there. It's a lot of fun. We have a bunch of free content for Yahoo. We also have a few Yahoo-centric NFL shows. If you go look on our YouTube channel, that came out, I think it was yesterday or the day before. So we'll get that breakdown. And we have 4 Yahoo NFL articles that are all free on the Awesemo NFL page right now. All righty, let's hit our last game of the night. This is a fun one. Fun for a couple reasons, Gundacker. One, it's an 8:30 tip-off. This is a condensed schedule, right? It is 8:30, right? Isn't it? Or is it 9?
No,
so everything comes off in 90 minutes. So for me, that's going to be phenomenal because last night we were waiting for that last game to come around and I was winning some in hockey. There was a couple hockey games left. I had all sorts of things going on the short slate, the main slate, and betting. And I just threw my hands up in the air and I said, I can't do this. I don't know what I'm rooting for. I'm going to bed. So I went to bed at 11 o'clock last night. It was very nice. I got a good night's sleep. And I woke up and guess what? None of them came to fruition for me. So it was not very good. Did win a couple small GPPs in hockey, but the basketball, the bets went wrong. the contest went wrong. The Yahoo entries went wrong. It was horrible. It was horrible. But you know what? That's going to turn around tonight because it's only going to be 8:30 when this final game starts. So I will watch all of it fingers crossed, until the end. What are we doing? Kyrie Irving is back. No Draymond Green, he's still out. No Andre Iguodala, he's still out. Obviously, Kevin Durant out through the end of next month. It sounds like Steph Curry potentially harboring some sort of hand injury. His accuracy for his field goal shooting, the worst stretch of his career. There was an article. There's been a couple articles about it. There was a good one in the ESPN NBA mailbag today. I think that one is behind their paywall, but if you have the ESPN premium thing, you can read about that. None of them are really talking about the hand injury. That was something that Greg Ehrenberg has brought up. I want to give him credit for that one. We don't know for sure, but the variance, it's been a long enough time. We don't know why it's not normalizing. This season and last, he actually had a better effective field goal percentage without Draymond Green on the court. So it's not Draymond not being there. We don't know what's going on. Slump buster, potential injury. What is your, I know you like your conspiracy theories. The loyal audience at home, I'm going to let them in on a little secret. Your cap there, it's lined with tinfoil. What's up? You're Mr. Conspiracy. What's going on with Steph Curry? I don't know. We're trying to milk this for time.
Jet fuel can't melt steel beams. There, I said it. I don't know. Okay. I don't know, man.
I don't know. People are not. They're gonna miss that until they think the words that you just put together.
Yeah. I did shooting slumps.
No, you were a truther. Okay.
I'm definitely not. FBI. I'm not. I don't. Okay. Good Lord, can we edit that in post? Tyler, help me out. Let's talk about this game though. 231 total, a lot of implied scoring to be had here, and it's always just fun to see Steph versus Harden and Kyrie anyway. The Warriors. Conspiracy theories aside, without Draymond Green, their defensive efficiency has taken a big hit. So we can expect a little bit more scoring in this game than our usual Warriors games from earlier in the season. And expect Steph Curry to be able to shoot through it. And, if he's going to have an opportunity against a porous defense like the Nets, at 9,500 on FanDuel, the opportunity is still ripe at that price point. Clay at 5,500 on DK. Still, chipping a chair for 30 fantasy points. Not overly excited about him because you always feel like you get a glass ceiling when it comes to his minutes right now. And then, all-star Andrew Wiggins, right? How often can you get a all-star starter for 6K? So 34 minutes of him, maybe you get the peripherals and the steals out of him. No Iggy. If Bielisa didn't play, Otto Porter, maybe Juan Toscano-Anderson and Jonathan Kuminga would benefit from elevated amount of minutes here. And then on the net side, James Harden projected really well from my fantasy projections this far out. He also has himself a decent chunk of equity when it comes to the ownership projections from this early on FanDuel. We had him at nearly 31% owned. I'm trying to space way away from
chat's been awesome.
I made a list, so if you guys don't see me after this week, my bad. But yeah, give me hard on FanDuel, 10.2K. I think that's really cheap. Gonna be easy to fit him in there, especially point guard, shooting guard eligible. Kyrie, I think he's fine. I think I'm projected him for too close to 40 than I would like, but I think 50 plus fantasy points in a game that could turn to a track meet, 230 total. There's a world where he gets to 40, sometimes 50. So I'll have more Harden than Kyrie, but I don't mind getting Kyrie. Claxton did not start the last game he was active. They still went with Sharp. So we'll see if that stays consistent. LaMarcus Aldridge, no matter what, though, it looks like their closer. And then Patty Mills at 5'2", 5'5", with Kyrie in the mix. I probably don't get to him. I do think it's a positive game flow for him. I think he'll chuck 8, 9 threes in this spot, but he's extremely scoring dependent. So even with 20 real points, he's not guaranteed to be a problem in tournaments with the low peripheral expectation.
Yeah, so Kyrie's up to 39 now on Yahoo. They had been kind of the slowest of the sites to catch up to his only playing games away from New York. He's 9,400 on FanDuel. He's 9,500 on DK, but that would equate to about a $44 price point on Yahoo. So you are getting a little bit of value there, but not quite as amazing as it was. We'll talk about in a second. We'll cover a couple props. We'll talk about some of the value plays. The best value plays on the slate, we don't know yet. We're not going to know until starting lineups start coming out because we're waiting on a few key injuries here. But we can kind of tell you some of the current ones. It's always good for these shows when people say, I don't want to watch the show. Well, early one, we teach you how to read the slate. That's important. You can see we're looking at, here's the variables we have now. Here's how we would react to them. That's incredibly important because especially when news breaks late, or if you're playing the late slates or the sub slates in the middle of the night or middle of the evening slates, I like to call them, there's not direct content for those. We have it at Awesemo. We got the projections. We have ownership for most of them if there's 4 games or more or 3 games. And we always have the night slate ownership as well. But it just gives you, that's where the little edges, the little advantages are. So if you're not taking advantage of signing up for us through Yahoo or Prize Picks, or if you're not in New York and Louisiana, I think it is, taking advantage of all these new sports wagering bonuses and stuff, that's the last place the edges are still there. The rest of the field's pretty smart. This is my 10th year of doing DFS content. That means DFS has been around and partially mainstream for 11 years. It's been around in various forms for 13 years now. It's not solved, but the fish are long gone. The silly plays are people like me that are playing too many of these subslates and too many sports and forget to set their lineups. That's where the edge is. And I'm paying the rake at least 3 slates a week for you, but the edge is smaller. Let's be smart. Contest selection is where the edge is. Utilizing these bonuses, getting in on the good deals. That's where the edge is. Make your entertainment dollar last longer. That's what all of this is key about. The one thing I did want to point out before we start talking a little value, start talking a little odd shopper here, is this is an island game for both teams. So that I think is somewhat important. Brooklyn last played on Wednesday. Brooklyn plays again on Wednesday. Am I reading this right? Brooklyn last played on Wednesday. They play again on Tuesday. Golden State last played on Thursday. They play again on Tuesday. So this is like a big stretch off for both of them for this one. So that is key to remember. So I'm going to flip it over here to our value place here. If you want to throw out anything you got on DK or FanDuel, I'll look up our Yahoo value place as well.
Yeah, I mean, news is going to create some value. Like I said, asterisk next to Jonas Valanciunas, NAW asterisk next to Brandon Ingram, and then Memphis without Dylan Brooks. I feel like there's a shot that A.D. Anthony Melton, John Concher, Zaire Williams, one of those guys will be live. You kind of spin the wheel, make a deal on them. But past that, it's pretty dry this far out. But I'm pretty confident that NBA is going to give us some value as the day progresses.
Yeah, it'll absolutely happen here. So on Yahoo, you've got a couple centers. You've got Precious Achiuwa going against his former squad. Not that makes a difference because he's got to go against Bam Adebayo, but he's $11. He's our second best value play on Yahoo. Maxi Kleber, birthday boy, he is the third best play. They're both coming in at 11. You also have a pair of Pacers coming in at $11 a piece, and Torrey Craig and Justin Holiday. Not overly exciting at the moment. There will be better ones, but that's kind of where we stand on that. And then we were asking, hey, do you guys do any props on this show? Well, we got props. We have a free prop tool out there. It's actually an Awesemo's sister site. So it's called Odds Shopper. ODDS Shopper. So if you just go over there in the upper left corner, you can click on Shop NBA Bets because we're doing an NBA show, but we've got NFL, we've got NHL. You can do arbitrage betting. You do the parlay builder, which builds out the best parlay for you on your side of choice with different styles, etc. But the key things that you can do, not only if your state has sports wagering, you can select from the drop down your state, and it'll tell you which books are offering the better sites, because sometimes you'll get deals or promos or different things in the different states, but and not all the sports books are live in all of the states, even when they are active, depending on licensing rules, etc. But you can go over there and you can sort by projected ROI. You can sort by best win percentage. That is key. So if you're playing on Prize Picks or No House Advantage or what is Thrive, some of these other sites that are daily fantasy that have turned props into their contests. You can't just build one, you got to have two or more, but you care about what's the most likely outcome for a win. So on something like this, if we sort by most likely outcome for a win, tonight, Patty Mills under half a blocked shot, Jalen Brunson under half a block shot. Those are 90% win opportunities. Why? Because those guys don't block shots. Watch this be the game. They'll get two in a game, and then they will go 15 games without one. So it's one of those. But if you start looking at some of the ones that tend to be a little, and you can sort by category as well. So we can let's see this category up. Let's scroll down. Why is it just showing blocks and steals tonight? Oh, there we go. There's assists. So here's a good one. Jalen Brunson. We've talked about him. 4.5 assists. That's over at one of the sports books. Awesemo's projecting him for 5.8. How do we know what that's Awesemo projecting him for 5.8? Because this is coming out of our DFS tool that automatically feeds into there. Shows us that there's a 68% chance of winning. Just a 12% ROI. But that, those are solid. All of a sudden you pair that with a Kyle Kuzma under 16.5 points, and you're looking at probably a 50-50 chance that it wins, but all of a sudden your ROI jumps higher, right? Because you're parlaying them, you're taking a chance, and you get the higher payout. And if you pick a lot of favorite type bets, you can build out an ROI or a return that's going to be actually kind of interesting. You can do that like with tomorrow's football games. You could bet both money line favorites and get close to even action, right? So there's different ways of doing this. But we have up in the upper right corner here, we have a little video from Laffy talking about this. But if you go to our sister YouTube channel, Awesemo or Odd Shopper on YouTube, we have all sorts of evergreen content. Talks how to use the parlay builder. How Ben Raza is breaking these down in 5 to 7 minute videos. Laffy is as well. What is the hold? How do you arbitrage? What does it mean when what is a parlay? How does it work? How do what's a teaser? All this stuff that you've heard about and you kind of have the general concepts, but like me, sports betting just came live in Virginia about a year ago, actually this time. I look at some of those, when you're staring at it and you're the one that has to make all the decisions, you're like, what does this mean again? Am I picking the opposite of what I want? Am I being stupid? And the answer is, probably. So go look at this free content and kind of give yourself a fighting chance. Don't spend your dollars making the mistakes. Go watch a few of these videos. It'll help you out. But it's a good time. It's a good time over there. So the answer, yeah, we have picks. We have props. All right, Gun. Final thoughts before we get on out of here and turn things over to the NHL show, and we get to see our friend Sammy Telesco getting highlighted for his hockey win on that show.
I like you. I'm appreciative of this slate being within 90 minutes. Night like last night, we feel like we're running a marathon like Mrs. Emac, and a nice little break is nice. And then we're gonna watch the Royal Rumble and have some fun, and the football tomorrow. Excellent. And what time is your science show where you talk about melting metals at varying degrees? I'm gonna go through some black books here. I don't know. I'm the most anti-conspiracy guy. I know, which makes this so fun. So you just put me in a weird. So I don't know, but sometimes my shock value jokes that might get me in trouble. Someone's at the door. I'll be right back. You might be right back. Well, hopefully we'll see. Because Gundacker, he had the honor of being on the last show of the day yesterday and the first show of today. He's been a busy man over the last 18 hours. But with that, we're going to get on out of here. You can follow Gundacker on Twitter at Gundacker. I am at EMACDFS. Of course, it is Awesemo_COM. With that, gamers, good luck.